This is my 2006 Mazda Miata, or MX-5 depending on what part of the world you're in. And this is the obligatory, very exciting build plans for this car on the channel. Welcome back to Flywheel Films. My name is Austin, and behind me, like I said, is my NC1 Miata. The NC1 is just the first sub-generation of the NC Miata, so 06 to 2015. The purpose of this video is for me to not only tell you what I have in store for this car and what you can expect to see over the next coming months, years, but also for you to give me some suggestions and ideas and your opinion on what you think I should do as well. And also, quick disclaimer, if you couldn't tell, this is not a full transformation where I'm throwing $20,000 at this car over the next 20 minutes and it's just going to be a totally different, unrecognizable car by the end of the video. This is going to be a probably multi-year long process of driving the car, enjoying the car, and deciding what mods are best for my use case. So if you like that, if it sounds more your speed than just a super quick transformation, just dumping money and parts into it, you should consider subscribing so you can follow along. If you are not new to the channel and you've been following us for a while, you've probably seen my brother's 2012 NC2 Miata, where he has done quite a bit to it. And because I've seen him go through that, obviously had tons of conversations about what he's done to the car, I have a pretty good idea of what I want this car to be, and you'll probably figure that out by the end of this video. So without further ado, let's get into it, and we're going to address this first.
What is that? What the f is that?
The elephant in the room, or more so the elephant you could probably fit between my tire and fender here, is this atrocious wheel gap. I will hopefully be addressing this pretty early on. This car is not entirely stock, as you can probably tell by the wheels and tires going on here, but one of the upgrades done is Kona Yellow, so I'll probably throw on some lowering springs at first. I really do like a good lowering spring and aftermarket strut combo. Did that on my Ford Fiesta ST and I really enjoyed it. So we'll probably start with that, then maybe eventually move to some coilovers like Jordan has on his. But it would be interesting to see that comparison as well. While we're here, I do really like these NQ wheels and Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires that the previous owner put on. They are much better than any of the stock wheels in my opinion. And these tires are fantastic. The wheels I think look good, but they're not exactly my taste. So they're good for now. I'm not in a huge rush to get rid of them. But that being said, if you're in the Northwest Arkansas area and you like them more than I do, DM me on Instagram, just Flywheel Films, and let me know, because there are a few wheels that I would really like to throw on here. I've always had a few wheels in mind for my future NC, now my current NC. Now lastly, in the realm of handling and suspension, this does have a Racing Beat rear sway, which is very nice. I do want to finish out kind of the handling package after the lowering springs and the struts with a probably RX-8 front sway. I think that'll kind of balance out the handling package and should get me the stiffness that I'd like. But I will kind of reassess after the car is lowered to see what the car needs. As far as driveline goes, so this is a Touring from 06, which means it was only available in the 5-speed, and if you know much about NC Miatas, a 5-speed means you do not have a limited slip diff. Kind of a bummer, but there are plenty of options for limited slips as far as doing an upgrade down the line. I have done a good amount of research, and I'm heavily considering doing a full kind of RX-8 rear end swap, so RX-8 limited slip diff, axles, rear knuckles, all that good stuff. But I'm not too pressed on doing that until I add a little bit more power. More on that in a bit. For the extremely controversial topic of exhaust, this car actually already has one. It has a Racing Beat axle back. I actually really like the way it sounds. It's a little bit louder than stock. It's not droney at all on the highway. But I will be making this car a little bit louder and giving it a little bump of power with Jordan's old Racing Beat header. So it'd be kind of nice to have the matching Racing Beat exhaust. I think that'll make it sound hopefully really good, and like I said, give it a little bump of power, because that is the most restrictive part of the exhaust with the NC, is the OEM header. And yeah, Jordan doesn't need that anymore because he's getting a turbo. I might be foreshadowing here. Under the hood, this thing is pretty much bone stock. We have some flying Miata hood struts under here that are a really nice little upgrade. You don't have to put the little hood prop up. And it's got a K&N drop-in filter from the previous owner. Nice little, I don't know, like 3-4 horsepower pump there. And then short term, I really only plan on doing a coolant expansion tank. It is pretty cheap insurance for what could be catastrophic if it does fail, even though mine looks like it's in pretty great shape. Like I said, probably worth doing. And then long term, I don't know exactly when this will pan out, but I think you can expect to see a turbo-shaped object in the turbo-shaped void on the side of the motor over here. You may have noticed that this is not an appearance package NC1, which would have been my preference, but this was just too nice of a car to pass up. But that being said, I do actually really like some of the other options for the front splitters. And I definitely want to run one because I agree with the commentary that this has a soft chin. Yeah, let me know what you think I should do. Should I try to find an appearance package front splitter? Should I do something like JDM from Garage Fairy or something like that? Once again, undecided on this, and I'd love your feedback and your suggestions. All right, so coming back to the rear of the car, let's continue the aesthetics conversation. I don't want to do a crazy amount. I do think kind of the subtle stuff on the NC looks the best. So a subtle spoiler, I like Jordan's duckbill quite a bit, so I might do one like that. But I would have to paint match it because this winning blue is just too good. The Roadster badge is kind of fun. I've never seen that before, and I think it's a little bit unique. But depending on the spoiler I go for, I might just delete it anyway. There's a stubby antenna, absolute necessity on NCs. And then there's this chrome little gas cap here. Apparently this thing is worth like $1 million. Not really, it's like $200 or $300, but that feels like way too much for a chrome gas cap. But it's like a rare dealer option, I guess. And then really the only other thing that I'd like to do back here is maybe an appearance package lip or a subtle splitter, just something to kind of add a little bit more to the lower half of the bumper. That's pretty much it. If you have any other suggestions of things in the rear of the car, please let me know. The taillights, I actually think kind of fit. I know it's very controversial and a lot of people like the later NC taillights, but the chrome is kind of fun to me. I don't know, maybe I should keep all the chrome. You tell me. Now, last but definitely not least is the interior. I think arguably your interior is the most important part of the car because it's what you sit in, it's what you interact with. So that being said, there's some pretty inexpensive things you can do to kind of totally change your driving experience. I'll start up here. One of them is the rev limiter gauges. I know I really like the white ones that Jordan has on his car. It definitely overhauls your view. And it's a little thing. It sounds kind of silly, but I think it makes a big difference. Jordan does too. In this general area, I will be doing the RX-8 windshield wiper selector too. Just gives you some additional settings for your windshield wipers. So definitely a must with NCs. And then kind of working my way down, I don't love the piano black. I know some people really do. It's just not my cup of tea, and especially on a predominantly black interior. I'd really like to add a pop of color. Should I do silver from the later NCs? Should I do like a blue or maybe an accent color to match my brake calipers? I don't know. Open to suggestions there. There is a nice head unit in here. There's a really nice Alpine kind of CarPlay, Android Auto compatible head unit. Really glad I don't have to do that. All the steering wheel controls work, is very nicely done. And then kind of working my way down, the shift knob feels great. It is aftermarket, but it's a slightly different color silver than the other kind of silver accents going on, so that bothers me. And I'll probably change that and the e-brake handle because it's a very inexpensive way to kind of overhaul your touch points in the car. And then within the center console too, I may swap out to like a later NC2 or NC3 center console just because it's a little bit nicer, the storage is a little bit better in it. And then speaking of NC2/NC3, I want to redo the door cards. I think retrofitting some NC2 door cards gets rid of the cup holder that kind of bulges into your leg room. I don't love that. And while I'm in there, I'll probably do some speaker upgrades. Because this is the Touring, this does not have the Bose system, which means it's a lot easier for me to do speaker upgrades in the car, which I'm excited to try out. Jordan has a Bose system in his car, and there's very limited options for the Bose stereo system if you don't want to rip out everything. And then lastly are the seats. So I actually really like these cloth seats way more than I thought I would. I did seek them out. That was something that I wanted, and I'll talk about that in a future video. But I think eventually I would like to either retrim them with some kind of fun covers or materials, or maybe even swap in an aftermarket seat, or maybe a seat from like a FRS or BRZ. I do know that they can be adapted to fit in here. So that's it for interior stuff, at least for right now. There might be some other stuff I think of in the future. If there's anything you think I'm missing, please tell me. But I'm really stoked at the interior of the NC. I've always enjoyed being in them, and I'm really excited to make this one my own. Well, that was a lot of talking about future plans, but if you can't tell, I'm extremely excited for the future of this car. I think it's going to be a ton of fun modifying it, making it my own. So stay tuned for the build process. The next video you can expect is also going to be very, very NC related. I talked a little bit about some of the subgenerational differences within the NC Miata in this video, and I'm going to be hitting a lot more on those next video, where I talk about everything I learned in NC shopping. So if you are in the market for an NC, or you just want some more fun NC nerdy content about different subgenerations and things to look for, stay tuned for that one. We'll see you then. Y'all have a good one. Thank you so much for watching.